This program is intended for informational purposes only and does not contain medical advice. As always, please contact your physician or qualified healthcare provider with any questions regarding a medical condition. Welcome to Hot and Bothered. I'm your host, Melyssa Ford. This is the space where we get real about sexual health, wellness, relationships, and all the life-affirming conversations that remind us what it means to live fully and authentically. Nothing's off limits, everything's off the table, so let's dive in. For over 50 years, one name has echoed through American history, prisons, politics, music, and the streets: Larry Hoover. To some, he is a symbol of destruction, and to others, he is a symbol of transformation. But today, we are not speaking to the myth. We're speaking to the family. A wife who stood by him through 5 decades of incarceration. A son who grew up without his father's physical presence, but never without his guidance. And a family that says, despite it all, love, rehabilitation, and redemption are still possible. This is not a conversation about gang culture. This is a conversation about time served, time lost, and the cost of a system that rarely acknowledges transformation. Today, I'm sitting down with Larry Hoover Jr. and Mrs. Wendy Hoover to talk about life, legacy, generational healing, public perception versus private reality, and one family's plea for mercy. This is Hot and Bothered, and this conversation is bigger than all of us.
Whatever they say in about the 150 to 200 years, that within just say 12 years, that he would make it out if he didn't make it out before. That was my understanding of like more of a life sentence back in that time in 73, which always made me think that they were going to release him within some of that time. As you know, it went way past.
I mean, I guess I could ask how you went about explaining Larry's situation to young Larry when he was a child.
He was at work.
He was at work?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was at work. And then it would come up at one point like, what kind of work? And then I said, well, he worked at the zoo. And he took that because he was little, till one day he just told me, Mama, my daddy don't work at no zoo. My daddy in jail. I'm like, okay, well, we could stop telling that story. Anybody that know me know they can't tell me nothing to make me turn my back on my kids. I might not like certain things that they do, but I want to know my kids okay. I don't care what's going on. I can stay with a man over 50 years. Ain't no way you can make me turn my back on my own kids.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hot and Bothered. I'm your host, Melyssa Ford, and I am in Chicago at Fabre Studios, and I am joined by 2 guests today. I'm joined by Larry Hoover Jr. and his mom, Wendy Hoover. How are you guys?
Good in yourself.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I really wanted to take the time to talk to the both of you because Larry Hoover is a name that is synonymous with a lot of things. It's infamous. And just recently, he's been in the news quite a bit because President Trump granted him clemency on the federal level, but he's still in prison, having celebrated his 73rd birthday? 75th birthday just recently on November 30th. And that's because he's still serving state charges.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. And so I wanted to just talk to you guys about the man, the myth, the legend, the father, the husband, all of the adjectives that we can apply to him. And I thought that you guys would be the best people to talk to about that. Yeah. We're getting a lot of facial expressions from Wendy. Okay, so let's start with, the family reality. I read the clemency petition written by Justin Moore, and wow, first of all, it was so eloquently written. It was like reading a novel, and it was really powerful for so many different reasons. First of all, the amount of impressive people that he has advocating for him and have been advocating for his release for many, many years.
Yes.
And then, it tells the story from beginning to, the current day, his upbringing, his childhood, his adolescence, and there's a lot of information that I want to kind of go over. But I want to start with you, Larry, as his namesake, Larry Hoover Jr. That must have been an interesting experience growing up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. As I was younger, I used to not use my whole name because I didn't know what came with it. So my mother's name was Jenkins, and I used to use Jenkins a lot of times because I didn't know how people would react from hearing my name as I was finding out who my father was. So from the street aspect of things, I didn't know if it was a positive or a negative. But then it was positives that came with it too. It was the experience with people I didn't even know that would treat me a certain type of way. Yeah.
In the petition, you describe him as a loving and supportive father. So I'm interested to know what it's like growing up with a father who isn't physically present, but he's present in every other way that he can be, spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
So I had a cheat because my father wasn't at home. I believe that he really did everything he could to keep our relationship good. So I got to see a lot of more of loving from that angle because I don't think he wanted to be too hard on me because he wasn't there. And then I was a pretty decent kid, or at least sneaky enough to try not to let everybody know what I was doing when I was doing things that I shouldn't do. So, he kind of appreciated that. Well, I appreciate it. He just really didn't know. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Does he know now?
Yeah, he knows what he knows what went on, but I'm a pretty good guy. I don't do anything at this point.
Wendy is making a whole lot of noises and facial expressions. I can't wait to get to you. But
he's telling the truth.
He's telling the truth?
Pretty much, yes. He got caught some, but he's telling the truth pretty much.
Okay.
He wasn't an angel.
I was.
So be it. I'll let you have that.
The petition also states that your father helped shape, lead, and guide you and your siblings. What did that look like on a day-to-day level?
So he's a man that's going to tell you how he wants you to do it and how it should go. So or tell you how he feels like you should behave as a man, how you should dress as a man, how to respect and treat people. So just on a day-to-day level, because when he was in a state situation before, he called all day, every day, and he could be a part of everything that was going on.
That was before he was moved to Colorado, correct?
Before he was moved to Colorado. Yeah, so he was a part of everything the best he could be. She would keep him informed on everything that was going on, and he would have his input. If it was, what I was wearing when I was going to prom or when I was getting ready to get a car, he wanted to help me make the decision on what car I should have, or tell me what he liked about which clothes that I wore. He still talks about my clothes. He doesn't like anything I wear, even though I at least follow this lead with trying to wear suits and dress up as a man should, at least.
He was so young when he went into prison. It was 1973, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he hadn't made 23 yet.
Right. And so I feel like he was maturing as a man at the same time as you were growing up as a boy.
He wasn't even born yet.
Well, just in terms of well, tell me about that.
I was pregnant with him when he got picked up in 73, in September of 73. They're running from the police. And then once they realized who he was, they made it even harder for him to get out. But no. He seen his father for the first time being incarcerated and that was done through one of the wardens that worked at the jail that gave us a special visit so he could see the baby. And we had a visit in the attorney's office at the Cook County Jail. And I was able to take him in for him to see him at that time, and they gave us a special visit. So
Wendy, you've loved him, before and through his entire incarceration.
not
Why?
all the time.
No, I mean, ask any married couples. Half the time they don't like each other. Sometimes, that's understandable.
Well,
Ebbs and flows.
People change when they away or stuck in situations. So, but not all the time. He used to call him ugly. That would make me mad. The funny looking baby, and I'm like, who funny looking now? He looks so much like him, but But he said he was a ugly, funny little baby because he was so little when he was born.
Oh.
He was very tiny.
Well, you've grown up, nice and tall. But you still chose to marry him in 2020. Is that correct?
Was that when it was? They pushed us around so long all these years. We tried ever since he kind of got locked up from the state and whatever, and they kept denying. So it was it 20 or 2019, I think. I can't remember right now.
But basically, it was just denied up until that point.
Right.
So it finally happened in that year.
Wow. This is an enduring love story. I mean, it's not necessarily a fairy tale, but it's an enduring love story. I mean, I'm interested to know what does commitment look like to you, like on a level that most people would never understand?
When he got arrested in 73, before they brought all these other charges against him, but at that time, my understanding of him being incarcerated, the time that they gave him, 50 to 100 years or whatever it was, I can't really remember.
It was like 150 to 200
right.
years.
As my understanding at that time was that it was more like, say, like 11 years. 11 years and 3 months or something was considered a life sentence. And that's what I was focused on, that whatever they said about the 150 to 200 years, that within, just say 12 years, that he would make it out if he didn't make it out before. And it was things that happened that he had hopeful opportunity to get released before that 11 or 12 years. It just didn't happen, though. But that was my understanding of like more of a life sentence back in that time in 73, that the 11 to 12 years was considered a life sentence, which always made me think that they were going to release him within some of that time. So, I mean, I guess that was the commitment, but as you know, it went way past 11 or 12 years.
Way past. Yeah. A central theme in the petition is also generational healing. I mean, I guess I could ask how you went about explaining, Larry's situation to young Larry when he was a child, and then how have you explained it to, your children?
He was at school.
He was at work.
He was at work?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was at work. He worked. And then it would come up at one point like, what kind of work? And then I said, well, he worked at the zoo. And he took that because he was little, till one day he just told me, Mama, my daddy don't work at no zoo. My daddy in jail. I'm like, okay, well, we could stop telling that story. But him and his brother, his brother kind of knew more because his brother's older than him, but they would go and have themselves a ball visiting with him because he was going to play with them. And it pretty much, the whole family on my side pretty much my nieces or as our nieces, and I mean, I used to take all of them down there to visit because he loved kids and loved to play with them and do whatever. So um, everybody goes to visit Uncle Larry, Uncle Larry, Uncle Larry. If it ain't Daddy, it's Uncle Larry. So, they all have pictures and memories from wherever, and they all grown now. But you're not the youngest out the group, but he in that next group before they start going now in their 30s and 40s, and the older ones are in their 50s and 60s. But all that time, I would take them all with me if they let them in, so we would go, and they'd run around and play, and what would they call the guys that served the food and stuff in the institutions? They had
The JCs.
The JCs, yeah. So, they did that. They always like to take pictures. I hate to take pictures, but everybody wanted to take pictures. And so they finally just realized he was not at a job or at school. So
Okay.
It was still kind of a job. He gave everybody money.
yeah, I don't know where he got it from, but whatever.
Yeah, because they wasn't supposed to have cash. But I just thought about it when you said it, and you were saying how she explained it to me. Rick Ross ruined it for my son.
So
he
I was
did.
going to
I couldn't-
eventually ask about that.
I couldn't tell him something else because he heard the song, like, they say my name, like,
Yeah.
so with media and all that different type of stuff and music, like the name being blasted everywhere, he kind of was exposed earlier than I was. I couldn't give him another story.
Yeah. He made sure I knew that. Because they was watching, what was that, one of them BET programs that played the music and stuff all the
Are you
time?
talking about Rick Ross's song?
Yeah. Yeah, the song,
and
it kind
I
of...
would pick him up from school, like, 5, 6 years old now.
It's a very popular song.
And he'd come running in the room, Nana, Nana. I'm like, what? He say my name. He say my name, Nana. I say, who say your name? So now he pulling me in there to see the TV, talking about whipping work and what was it? Something doing and whipping work. I say, that is not you. They are not talking about you. What work you whipping and what are you talking about? All of this. No, Nana. He talking about me. That was so funny. But I was like, that is not you. They might be talking about your big papa, but they ain't talking about you.
Well, that was actually going to be one of my next questions. The name is infamous. It's been mentioned in movies and rap songs. Is it frustrating for you to hear it as it reinforces the myth and the legend and the stigma of his past acts of, past life and acts of criminality?
Well, what I'm going to say is the legend of Larry Hoover is infamous. Larry Hoover is not infamous. He's a changed man. I know some people may not understand because they don't know him and they're not willing to open up and listen to who he is and who he has become, but his story more resembles Malcolm X than Al Capone.
Really? In what way?
Because he came from the streets and he was changing his life and using his influence to change the life of people in the streets and trying to make right some of the wrongs he had did in his life.
While he was
Redemption
incarcerated.
Yeah, while he
for
was
himself.
while he was incarcerated.
Ron Safer, he's the I knew I was waiting for a reaction. So Ron Safer, he's the former lead federal prosecutor in Larry's case, and he is quoted as saying he was disappointed that Hoover was granted federal clemency. He says, "I believe in redemption. I believe in rehabilitation. I believe in mercy.
does not.
There are some crimes that are so heinous, so notorious that they are not deserving of mercy. If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a killing, then there was going to be a killing." So
Right.
what's your thoughts on what he had to say?
Ron Safer he doesn't believe in change.
No. Redemption
He doesn't believe in redemption.
and the truth.
Okay, you gotta let me get it out because I'm getting mixed up.
I love the Mama Spicy, though.
Yeah. Ron Safer does not want the truth about my father to be out because it was illegal the way they arrested my father. Stuff that doesn't hold up in court held up. Things that they are not allowed to do, they did. And maybe it's possible that the true information about how they did illegal things and things they let slide and pass through in his case that elevated his life, might have something to do with it, but he refuses to give him the opportunity that was given to everybody else. He's stuck on the legend of Larry Hoover. He doesn't speak of the man, Larry Hoover, like I said before. And it's horrible that he stays there anytime my father has a little bit of light. Not even freedom, but just a little bit of light where it looks like he may have a chance, and he pokes his head out and he just he runs his name through the mud. He talks about things that he says that he's responsible for, and he doesn't have to have proof or anything. He just, he wants my father to die in jail, basically. He wants my father to die, and then he'll be happy. I don't understand the hate that's in his heart that he has for my father, and he keeps showing it every time he gets a chance. He should go on with his life. His case is over with. We're dealing with a state case that happened in 73. The federal case is over. Quit coming out here slandering my father. Please. Go live your life and do what you do. Focus on whatever you need to focus on. That shouldn't be your focus anymore. That case is over.
Yeah, Safer's, what he has no kind of compassion for anything and anyone. He is. I don't hate. I wasn't raised to hate, but him I really don't like, because he tried to destroy me, and I had nothing to do with what was going on but supporting Larry.
In what way did he try to destroy you?
He used to follow me around. He don't tell nobody that. That he would come up behind me constantly and tell me, "Oh, I'm gonna get you. You going down with everybody. Go down for what?" One thing I can always say, right or wrong, that he never involved me in anything he was doing on the streets. I heard more rumors than I knew the truth about, but the fact is, he never involved me with that. I mean, even with half of the people that he know or knew him from the streets, I didn't know nothing about them people. He didn't bring them to the house where I was staying or where my kids was staying. Maybe a close few that he grew up with, but they be like they know me. They don't know me because I wasn't out there. He didn't have me in the streets doing anything. I can't say that certain things didn't happen as far as me being able to take care of my kids or whatever, or maybe it's some money in the drawer, but all of the what made that happen and go on, I didn't know about all of that. So, but Safer was, he almost made me lose my religion, because I want to say I hate him. And I've never gotten over him for the way he did me.
Yeah.
He always made public notice anytime he came at me. I mean, he'd come to my office. He did all kind of low down stuff. When he had to bring all my office paperwork and all my stuff back once they raided my office and took everything, he made sure he had a bunch of officers come to my office all on the street. Now everybody is looking like, what's going on? The state troopers and everybody all in front, just to bring me back what was mine. You went through it. I don't know what you kept out of it, but
it sounds like it's a personal vendetta.
It was very personal. I went from maybe weighing 150 pounds to probably 90 pounds, because that's how much he kept coming at me. It was terrible.
Yeah, and you were already, suffering what I call an invisible sentence. Most people, when they, think about mass incarceration, they just think about the men, but there's wives, mothers, whole families
Absolutely.
that are, left to serve that sentence along with them, just on the outside.
And that's
Would
what
you
I've
agree
been
with that?
doing. Oh yeah,
And
that's
it was
what I've
one.
been doing since '73. It's almost like that, you know. And the federal system is terrible.
It was just one thing I wanted to add in with that is that for the charges that my father received, and him and a bunch of other people received the same charges. And once they did the First Step Act, he served his time for that. But they didn't want to respect that he served his time for that. It was anything to keep him incarcerated. If it wasn't for him being pardoned, it's like they would not go respect that his time was served. You know, he had the same charges as everybody else on this case. So we were blessed that that happened because they just wouldn't respect it. Anything they would say, they would come up with anything to say that he deserved to still be there. You know, all type of charges that they would put in the newspaper and say that he was responsible for something. But then when they say that, when it comes back that it wasn't true and that didn't hold up, they would never come back and say that.
Yeah.
They would just leave it out there in people's head that he did this, he did that.
Yeah.
You know, so they were painting a picture of the boogeyman, of the infamous, and everybody is stuck with that, and that's the bad part of having a name, because they leave that out there, and you happy to see what's getting ready to happen. It's on the news, like, oh, maybe this is it, and then a bunch of slander comes and you crushed. You know, and everybody thinks that, oh, this great thing is about to happen. This great thing is about to happen. Guess what? We've been waiting for a long time, and we're still waiting, and we're still fighting. But a lot of people don't understand the deflation that we feel when we're getting excited and hoping that it's going to happen. And, you know,
Hope seems like a dangerous thing.
then safer pops up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? No, he's the most horrible person in the world.
Yeah.
You know, he actually got 10,000 black young men to vote. He actually shut down City Hall because they were trying to shut down medical centers and close down schools in the community. He had the guys in the community catch rapists. They don't say anything about that. He had programs.
This is your father's advocacy work.
Yeah,
you're
this
talking
is
about.
Advocacy
Okay.
work. They never speak about any of that. They throw that right out the window, and they go to talk about stuff that they can't even directly connect him to, but they say he's responsible for it. Anybody who loves Larry Hoover
Or respect him.
or respect him, you know, whatever they do, he's responsible for it. He's the Jesus Christ of the
The ghetto.
crime, the GDs, the ghetto. You know, they make him responsible for all type of things. And he's been in the most restricted prison for the United States for over the past 30 years
You're talking about Colorado.
in Colorado.
How would you say that him spending almost 30 years in solitary confinement or something close to that has changed him?
It's a lot of confusion. But I'm not gonna say a lot because a lot has changed. He's still stuck from where he first went. He wants to believe that he's up to date and current with things, but he's not. He know from the way he was raised and what took place in life and respect and kids. He don't understand, especially with the computers and the iPods
Technology.
and
He's
Instagrams
definitely
and all
behind on
that stuff.
technology.
So am I, honestly, and I'm in the outside world. Okay,
Yeah, me
like I'm an
too.
analog girl living in a digital world. Okay, so he's not. We're not. He's not. I'm not too far behind him.
But, I mean, he's changed in the fact that the ways that they won't let him change. They paint a picture of him as the young man that went to jail in his 20s, and he's a 75-year-old man. So he's aged. His emotions have changed. He's, you know, his compassion, which was growing, it's been growing for years, but, you know, he's just a different person. It's 50 years later since he first went away. 30 years after he went to Colorado. Like, he's just he longs to put his hands on some kids, not just his grandchildren, but some other kids, so he can pinch their cheeks and kiss them and give them treats and he and that's not a change. He did that before, but he's older. He's changed in the aspects of growing older and the stuff that comes with getting older. Yeah.
You crabby old man.
Is there space for grief when the person that you love is still alive but locked away?
Oh, yeah.
What have you had to grieve, Wendy?
The fact that I had to raise my two sons pretty much by myself. If it wasn't for my family, I'm speaking my mom, my dad, situations. It was just a lot of things. I had to do some things that I probably would have never done, but I was trying to take care of my kids a lot of times, and I always was self-sufficient. I had restaurants, I had lounges. I mean, I've always worked towards that goal of having my own, and those times and being by yourself, a lot of things just kind of end up not working out the way you wanted it to, so you try. I never gave up. Now, I never stopped trying to be responsible and make sure my boys were okay and making sure he okay or he have money on his books or go visit. I mean, we've been everywhere he's been. If it was in Dixon, or where else was he at?
The Dixon, the State
Joliet,
everything.
Vienna. I've been all over traveling to see him or make sure he get to see the kids, and so, I mean, it was always hope. It's just drug on and on and on, but the ADX was the worst. As I mean, I've gotten what they put me on, what they call it?
Restrictions.
Many times. I've been put on restrictions.
What does that mean, put on
that
restrictions?
I can't visit. I can't go see him.
And why would they do that?
Whatever reason they want.
They just make up a reason.
One time once was my granddaughter. She's preteen in her I'm constantly telling her, leave your phone in the car. You know you can't have your phone in there. I didn't know. She didn't leave her phone in the car. But her, I guess, thinking about it, she go tell the guard.
After she made it all the way in.
We're visiting. She go give the guard her phone. I never seen her do that, and I didn't know she had did that, because I would have said, they ain't said nothing, leave the phone off, just stay here. But once she did that, the whole place lit up. We were still visiting, sitting at the glass, and the next thing you know, you see all these big guards come through the side door. They say, you need to come over here. My grandson, he probably, how much older is Nioba Master? 8 years. So he probably was like 4, something like that. And he even felt being scared, because he came and grabbed on my leg. He said, Nana, what's going on? And I'm looking at all these guards, and I'm like, I don't know. They telling us to come over there. And then they tell me she brought a phone in, and we're going to take the phone. We got to check it and make sure she wasn't recording and just all kind of stuff. So they said, you guys are going to have to leave. And I said, well, her parents will be here shortly, because we had went in first. And they said, no, you're going to have to leave. So we had to leave. They let them come in behind us and visit, but I got put on restrictions for almost a year because of that. But any little thing they would, one time we had a conversation about, and it was always public record what I would be talking about. It was in the newspapers about a bunch of stuff about some gangs or something and whatever. And they said we was trying to talk about the gangs. They put me on restrictions again. But the fact is, this is public record. I'm not telling him no secret or something we trying to do. We discussing stuff that's public record. It's been on the news. This was in the news and that. So they gave me a hard time all of the time. If the least little thing, if it wasn't about the restrictions for visit, they might put him on restrictions for calling me on the phone and stuff. So they always had a reason to try to intimidate me or I guess stop me from going down there.
Oh, yeah.
And so he didn't tell me a lot of stuff that was happening to him down there because he didn't want me worrying about it. I'm finding out a lot of it now since he is in a state penitentiary, and he can call. So
Well, what did you find out that they were doing to him?
it's painful to think that I hear him on the phone racing to get ice. He has not had no ice in years. And they have when they go out like with the food and giving stuff like that, or he'll say, "Oh, hold on, they got ice. I'm going to get ice." You jumping and jerking for ice? But he said he hadn't had no ice in like almost 30 years. He hadn't even had a pop.
Wow.
And the food is always cold. I'm like, you didn't say nothing? We could have at least tried to protest or do something about that. But he don't want to get nobody all riled up. And he real kind of secretive about stuff. So he ain't trying to have people in his business or what's going on. But
Yeah.
just the fact that I hear all that now, it's been, I'm dealing with it, but it's very hurtful and painful to think that he had to go through all of this stuff with no ice, no pop, food cold. He like this. We checking each other. How much you weigh? How much you weigh? Because he's frail, real. And he didn't eat because he said they come sit the food in the hallway. It sit there for hours and it's cold. No hot food. So he didn't eat it. I mean, it's just...
It's another form of torture.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's small but significant and insidious.
It very is. And to find out that he's been going through this for all these years. But he wouldn't tell me because I don't want you getting all upset about all that. Really, dude.
Yeah.
Like, really?
He just celebrated his 75th birthday, but he's also had at least 3 cardiac events since he's been in prison, correct?
And yes, that's what they're saying, but we don't have the real records of that. We waiting on him to get the records from why they're saying this. Now, he's been a diabetic, and we know about that, but this heart is something new and different. But as far as him mentally and emotionally right now, even though he's not free, he is more relaxed. He get to talk to other inmates. They got him working in the kitchen, which he does not need to do because that's a little stressful for him. He been not doing nothing. They stopped the yard activities about, 20 years ago?
Well, that's why it was that he has been on lockdown for almost 30 years because, like, the first 3 years he had a little bit of movement before they locked him all the way down there. So, yeah, like 27 years. Yeah.
So, but, he's so much more relaxed where he is because he get to talk to some of the inmates and they... What his famous words right now is Trump made him famous.
Yeah, so let's talk about Trump. He granted him clemency on the federal level. His current clemency petition has been addressed to the current governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and the Clemency Board. Do you know why Trump pardoned him? Did you guys expect that this was going to happen? Was this a surprise? It just kind of seemed like it was out of left field. Was his lawyers petitioning for federal clemency beforehand?
We had talked with him prior.
With
before
Trump?
his second. When he lost the time he lost, then he just said he'll see what he can do when it comes back. But that was, because if you remember, Kanye took his attorney to meet him. And
Back in like 2018, yeah.
right. So that is kind of where that started, because Kanye was trying to help get him out at that time. So that's kind of where that came from.
Okay. So it wasn't out of left field. It was
No,
it was an
not
ongoing
out of
process
left
for
field.
years.
No. It
Good.
was not out of left field.
Yeah, we've been working on that, trying to get that to happen. But you can never tell what he's thinking or why he might have did anything. So I'm just happy that he did it.
Right. But yeah, that started more with Kanye.
Whatever pushed him, whoever tugged his coattail.
You don't care who, you don't care how. Just ultimate goal
I'm just
is
happy
No.
that
Yeah.
It
it
happened. Right.
because that's the only way that he was gonna get some relief and get a little shot at fairness, because going through the court system was not working.
Yeah. And who was that? Biden wasn't giving it. Barack Obama wasn't doing nothing.
I don't
like
care
they
about
were.
them in this part now.
Right.
We passed them. They couldn't see it, or they didn't do it. Whatever the situation was, it's done, and it's on to the next fight.
Yeah.
I'm proud that it happened.
So what stage is it at right now? I've read the petition. It was 121 pages. Like I said, it was very eloquently written. And has it
Waiting
been?
on Pritzker. That's
So it's
it.
been submitted, and we're
It
waiting.
been submitted.
Okay.
This
Is there?
This is a weight game, the long weight game. You
Okay.
have no control over how these people move, and it's become part of our life. To know how to wait is nothing you can do. It's like going to jail. You just have to become comfortable with waiting. You can't
How
push
you
anybody.
know that? You ain't never been to jail. No, I'm just messing with him.
But yeah, you have to be
You
comfortable.
gotta
with
laugh
taking your
in life,
time,
or you
because
find
it's-
something. Sorry.
you can't force anything in these situations. We found that out a long time ago.
Yeah. Wendy, if you could speak to policymakers as a wife and a mother, what would you want to tell them about, through your experience and just what you've learned along the way about mass incarceration and how it affects, how it has a reverberating effect on so many people and not just the person who goes in?
That's that. For me, I know I would miss so much trying to put something together to say, to make it resonate, or to really impact people to understand. If they, I can imagine how other mothers and families and sisters and brothers and the kids and all of that, what they go through to think, and then if even if they understand how their loved one is trying to protect them by not letting them know what they really. You get some that's gonna be yak 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 yak, and they doing that, but the real family members that really care about their families try to protect them by not telling them. And I'm saying that because I just found that out myself out of all these years, that I guess he had his better life when he was in the state system, when he was at Stateville, when he was at Vienna. You could sit at the tables and talk and buy food and watch TV, take pictures. He loved to take pictures, and I hate to take pictures. But, I mean, they either learn how to try and redeem themselves. They learn how to deal with compassion and respect. And it's all that I know. I'm not saying he no perfect 100% person, but he have flaws of certain things, and we disagree about certain things at times. But when it comes to being respectful for your family and your kids, and you know, he is number one with that. You know, even through the bad parts of what you go through with family members. You know, it's like it's always going to be some issues. Nobody's perfect. Some people's problems are going to be more than others. But anybody that know me know they can't tell me nothing to make me turn my back on my kids. I might not like certain things that they do, and I'm not in agreement with a lot, but I want to know my kids okay. I don't care what's going on. You know, good or bad, if they get caught up in issues or drugs or what. I'm not turning. If I can stay with a man over 50 years, ain't no way you can make me turn my back on my own kids. So that part is not. I just always try to find a way to work on it. Sometimes I have to walk away. You know, like, okay, go get your air. When you're ready to come back, be a family participant, then we'll try to work it out. But I'm still going to try to make sure I know where they are and what's going on, be it in jail, be it out another state, or however. I'm not turning my back. If I can hold up a man all these years, what makes you think I ain't going to hold my own kids up? So they don't have to worry about that. We don't really have to have them discussions, but I'm not going to ever turn my back on my children. You know, my grandchildren, whatever. My grandchildren think they privileged, so, you know, what can I say about them? But they do.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, I pray for them to be respectful and have a good life, but I still want them to understand that just because your grandfather's name is your grandfather's name, you're not privileged.
Yeah.
Nobody owes you anything,
Yeah.
you know? Same thing with my sons. I mean, we meet all kind of people. We make friendships with a lot of different people, or celebrities, or regular old down-the-block people, and all that kind of stuff. But you just have to know how to respect yourself and those people that bring you into their life and you bring them into yours, because don't nobody owe you nothing.
So we talked about his time, almost 30 years in ADX, but let's talk about the reunion when the pardon came through and he was released from federal to state, correct?
Yes.
So you all, for the first time in about 30 years, were able to actually physically touch him, hug him, kiss him.
Right.
He was able to physically meet his grandchildren, correct?
Right.
How old were the grandchildren at this point?
18 and 26.
What was the reunion like?
See that old?
The reunion was
Paint a picture for us.
great. Like,
Right.
they never seen my father walk. Like, just to see him walk was like wow. Just to hug him, you know, it was a great thing to sit there and eat, like just to eat chips off the plate, because they had vending machines in there. I tell people that when I was a kid, before, when I could touch him, he would always hug and kiss me, and I'm like, don't kiss me, you know, I'm a man. But he went to shake my hand, and I reached in to kiss him. It was the switch situation this time, so it was like a joke. It was funny that I reached in and hugged and kissed him on the cheek compared to me pushing him away when he was trying. And I was looking forward to that. I was waiting for that. For them to hug and embrace and to kiss, like, it was. Right now, it's one of the greatest moments next to the moment that we waiting on, because we didn't know that we were ever gonna be able to touch him again. Like at the ADX, the plan was never to be able to touch him again, and for him to die, and maybe we see him in a coffin. Yeah.
Wendy, what was that like for you?
I mean, he pretty much gave it all. It was funny. It was happy. See him interact. My grandson was like, "Oh, I got to go back and see Big Papa because he gave me some real good stuff." Gave you some real good stuff, huh? Yeah, I got a good understanding here. So, but okay, grandson.
I mean, he got to see the kids
Right.
fight and show who they really are because, siblings, they go back and forth and pick at each other. She was trying to make sure people didn't eat his chips. That's Big Papa stuff. Like it was a family moment that we didn't know when we would go ever have that or if we would go ever have it. So it was a great experience. Hopefully it's not the greatest.
What was his affect like? Was he teary-eyed? Was there a lot of crying?
He's not gonna do that.
No.
I was getting
No,
ready to
he's
say
not
he
gonna
ain't
do any
finna
of
show
that.
no tears to them, me.
I think
none
he was
of 'em.
confused a little bit,
Yeah, he
looking at
was.
like what's going on, like watching the grandchildren pick at each other and harass each other, and one of them breaking down and the other one digging in. He kind of, I think he would have liked to have been able to, like I said, he wanted to tell you how to do things, but because we were there, he wouldn't straighten them out right there. But I think he was confused, and it probably crossed his mind until my son had to treat his sister, and my sister had to respond with him.
Wow.
But because we were in the visiting room, I don't think he did it. But
He said he was going to talk to him.
yeah, so
He's going to get them calls.
it was, like I said, it was a real family moment that we had never had. It took a long time to actually get to that. And like I said, I'm waiting for the moment that's even better than that. That when nobody tells us that okay, visiting is over,
Yeah.
but him to say, okay, y'all can go home because I want to go to sleep, get out of here.
Who have been some of the biggest and longest advocates for Larry?
Some of the biggest and longest advocates. What name some of the people on the political platform that was back in the 90s pushing for.
Well, there was a
trying to
lot of the
assist.
older people in our communities because we helped a lot of the older people with their areas that they had, with especially when the 21st Century Vote was put together and working with the politicians and getting the kids to vote and showing them how they should act and respond. So it was a lot of politicians till the feds came and
Ran everybody away
Intimidated
because they didn't want
they sure
to
did.
mess up their career standing behind this positive movement that they seen that was actually happening. And
It was understood.
yeah, it's understood.
Because they had to take care of their family. That's the only thing I think a lot of people, they pass over. It's like my biggest thing with people when they don't tell me the truth. If you are threatened or uncomfortable, or it's going to even mess up your family life or stop you from helping to take care, just say, I can't deal with that no more. And I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anybody to not be able to take care of their families that they taking care of well or however they doing it.
Yeah.
But I can't take liars. Just all I ask is just tell me the truth. I'm going to keep doing what I have to do to survive with taking care of mine. And I expect you to do the same thing. So I just ask for you to be truthful for me. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is I can't stand a liar and a thief. I don't want no parts of them.
I feel you. Same.
None,
Absolutely.
So
Parole boards and clemency boards, they talk a lot about redemption and rehabilitation.
and people don't care about that stuff for real.
I mean, what does
That's just for the public. It is not for real.
if they were being honest, what does Larry's rehabilitation and redemption look like in terms of the things that he's achieved while he's been behind bars?
But they don't even want to address and look at. See, that's the aggravating part, because they're not doing a history check on him. You know, ever since he started getting himself in a position to want to redeem himself and put things in place, and it didn't come from him just sitting up thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna redeem." He has done a lot of reading. You know, he could probably have his which degree in.
He probably could have a doctorate in something by
Yeah,
now.
I mean, he has done all these things. There was a time in our life when he was first in Stateville, and I'd be writing and sending cards and this. I mean, just all. He never responded back. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And that went on and on to he finally told me why he was not responding back to me.
Why?
Because he couldn't read or write. He had maybe a 6th grade level of reading. Then they said he had, what's that? Dyslexia. And I'm writing and doing all this stuff. And he's not responding, and I'm saying, maybe I need to move on around somewhere, because he can't. I'm going to visit, I'm doing all this. And then he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to write you soon," because he didn't want me to know that he could not read or write.
So during the course of his years, he's gotten his GED.
Taught the GED classes.
He taught the GED class. He was he could be a paramedic, but he was behind. He was there, so he couldn't actually be a
EMT
paramedic.
certification.
Oh, he got it.
He felt like illiteracy was the reason why he was there. You know, when he was in school and he couldn't read or couldn't write, and kids would try to joke at him, he started fighting. You know, so he felt like illiteracy was the reason that he was there. And then when other young guys came into the prison system, he made sure that they got their GED. He made sure that certain guys even went further. Like a guy tells a story, he said, "What you go do now that you got your finished the GED class?" And the guy like, "I don't know." He said he told him, "You going to college. That's what's next." So as far as his rehabilitation is concerned, like, he understands what caused the problem in his life, and he was trying to keep other people from having the same problems. That's why he had the program in with 21st Century Vote, where he was trying to give people an opportunity to learn a trade or go to school so they can do something other than crime, where they would end up in his same position. Like, who knows better about being in the position that he is than him? He's been there his whole life, you know.
And he's played a big role in the movie. I might have been the face being seen, but he did all the research. I didn't have to do none of that, because he took care of all of that.
Yeah. The first several pages of the clemency petition are devoted to Larry's upbringing, the abandonment of his father, the poverty that he and his family experienced, and the close proximity to criminal activity that he grew up around right outside his bedroom window. How impactful do you think that this will be to, within the whole story towards, with the clemency board and the governor?
Them people don't care.
I was gonna say for regular people, it's impactful because you understand it, you've seen it, you know what it is. I don't believe they really
They just
take
some
it in.
rich folk.
They take it in
just
when they
rich.
want to, because. But they take, because they would have listened to it before.
But
Like,
they
this has
say
been the
they
story.
deal with prison reform. His wife and him and the what's her name, Pratt and Staten woman or whatever. They all claim they deal with prison reform.
But that story should be part of the reason why they understand where he came from, where he started at. But I think they look at other things as far as when they look at him. They look at the legend of Larry Hoover. They go past the story and just look at what the legend has become.
Yeah.
They can't see
Story.
him. They can't see him as a man and as a human being. Like
Yeah.
that's what they have to do. They have to look at him as
They need to talk
a
to
human
him.
being.
It had to be stated several times in the petition that the current youth that are involved in gang activity do not recognize him as their leader.
Absolutely.
Like it was said repeatedly in this, and I think I just gathered from that this is what they continue to think, that operating from behind prison walls, he still is
no
the leader
such
of the
thing.
GDs.
Not from, definitely not from Colorado ADX. I'm talking about just think of who they put there. Like it's ridiculous that we have to keep saying that. If we get restrictions for talking about trying to let him know that one of his friends died, how can he operate and talk about gang activity? How could he have possibly talked about gang activity? And we got restrictions because, yeah, just from talking, regular conversation, like it's not possible. They put El Chapos, they put the Unabomber, they put serial killers, people that attack the guards. Like this is top flight security, Craig. None of this stuff was possible. Like it's unrealistic. And if it is realistic, then their system is failing. They don't have rehabilitation. If after 30 years of sitting in a bedroom doesn't
Concrete.
rehabilitate you, what will? Like they need to fix the system, and more than that, they need to fix the situations in our community. Help us fix them so that kids won't go through the poverty and see this as the only way out of their situation. You know, that's what we're dealing with. Our communities we need help, assistance in fixing our community. And it's definitely going the opposite direction. And we don't need handouts, we need opportunities.
And parents need to be parents.
But
And I know it's short.
Yeah, and parents need to
They just need
have
to
an opportunity to learn how to be parents. They
Yep.
don't even know how to be parents.
Absolutely.
So how could they be parents if they growing up in this situation and the recidivism of being poor in our community, and you can't pass nothing down if you don't have anything to pass on?
For sure.
Yeah.
What do you want everybody to know about your dad and your husband as a
human.
closing question?
He's a loving human, love people, especially children. He has a lot of compassion and respect. So he hasn't lost what he got growing up with. That's for sure. I mean, he'll get mad at him if he think I'm having a few health issues myself. If he think he ain't coming to see about me in a timely manner, then he fussing. I'm like, well, he had to work, or he didn't get off, or whatever. Be like, whatever. I know what not to tell you tomorrow if you ask me again. I talked to him. He on his way, or he coming or something. I ain't finna go through that.
Yeah. Larry, what about you?
I think what should be, so my father made it being who he was by people loved him because he knows how to respect and how to treat people. You know, at a point in time in his life, he could have used fear and power to deal with people, but he built respect because he treated everybody fairly, and he would be an asset to the community if he came home, and not a detriment. But he's a old man. He's okay with if you don't want him to be a part of what's going on and help him fix the community because you guys are just happy with how tore up it is. Like, he would be an asset to the community. He's not a detriment. He wouldn't be a harm. But if they don't want an asset to the community, just let him come and be at home. He doesn't have to be a part of whatever y'all feel is going on. But yeah, let him just have an opportunity. He's not anything to fear. He won't harm anything. Who would harm anything or take any chances to cause any problems after you've been incarcerated for 50 years, 30 years solitary confinement. Like, it's unrealistic. It's ridiculous to think anything other.
Yeah, I mean, he's on his third cardiac event. I mean, I don't think that he's going to come out and rob banks or anything like that.
I mean, he
He
couldn't.
sounds like he probably just wants to go home and chill out with the grandkids.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining me, Wendy and Larry, and I am wishing you so much luck with the clemency board and the governor, crossing fingers that, you know, they believe in the rehabilitation of a 75-year-old man who's, you know, who really just wants to come home and enjoy his family in the winter of his life. But I want to thank you guys for joining me.
Okay. Thanks for having us.
Of course, of course.
That's it for today's episode of Hot and Bothered. Remember, life is lived in the in-between, and that is usually where it gets the hottest. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning into Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford. Please rate, subscribe, and comment, and share wherever you get your favorite podcasts. This season of Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford is hosted, written, and executive produced by me for Forged Path Productions. This season was written and produced by Sebastian Godin, filming and editing done by Freddie Chica, Nicole Benante, the Bassi Group, and Emmanuel Martinez, and executive produced by Rachel DeSalvo.